How's it going, everyone? Today we're doing the update on our analysis of the Olympic medal counts and which countries seem to be grouping next to which countries. Now, the last time we made some predictions doing this analysis on February 11th, and now we're in February 18th, right? The Olympics are still going on, so these values could still change a bit. But let's just recap some of the predictions we made. So we were graphing the countries with their gold medal count versus their total medal count, rather than just looking at the rankings, to see what countries group next to which countries in this two-dimensional surface, to see what do we expect going forward. So looking at this graph, we saw Germany was in the lead in gold medal count, but Norway just one behind and very high in total medal count. So one of our predictions was that, well, don't just take Germany as first place and Norway as second. Expect Norway to perform quite well too, right? So we kind of looked at both Germany and Norway as both being leaders. And just behind them, we saw the runners-up. We saw Austria, United States, Netherlands, Sweden, China, just a bit behind that group right there, expecting them to continue to do well too, but still noticeably behind Norway and Germany. And then we saw, okay, well, back here we saw, okay, well, so Canada seems to be performing much better than the other countries that also won one gold medal at that time. So we said, okay, well, Canada might be pretty far behind in the gold medal ranking, but with the total number of medals they're winning, they really are in their own place, different from the rest of the one gold medal winners. So to watch Canada to perform quite well, we saw Russia as well, right? Performing the best out of those who won two gold medals, and Italy not too far from Russia. We were saying that Canada expected to behave more like similarly to Russia than to France, for example, even though their ranking at the time was much more similar to France's than to Russia's. And now Japan and Switzerland we actually didn't talk about on this graph last time when we looked at total count and gold medal count, because they seem to be in the typical group of everyone else who won two gold medals. They didn't stand out in this group of main runners up here. But when we looked at the graph of medal value versus total medal count, and again, medal value looked at the dollar value, approximate dollar value of each medal. So their two silvers was worth a bit more than one gold, and bronze was worth much less than silver and gold, and basically acted just as a tiebreaker if countries have the same gold and silver medal count. And there we actually did see Japan and Switzerland appear. Okay, they didn't appear when we looked at as anything that stands out when we looked at value versus gold medal count or total versus gold medal count. But when we looked at value versus total, we did see Switzerland and Japan appear, and that was one of our predictions that, okay, watch Switzerland and Japan. Okay, they might pop up as performing well when we look at the other graphs in the future. So those were our predictions. Let's look at February 18th. Okay, so how things changed. So first of all, we look at our total medal count versus gold medal count, and one thing is very clear: Norway is way in the lead. Okay, so our prediction of watch Norway should also be considered a leader, not just a runner-up, well, that was correct. Norway's far in the lead, ahead of everybody else by both gold medal count and total medal count. They're just an outlier on this graph, right? They're performing far better than anyone else. We still see Germany performing very well. They are second place by gold medal count. Generally, we see this group of runners up right here, this cloud here, with which Germany is in the lead, but we also see them in the group with United States, Austria, France, Switzerland, Netherlands, and Sweden. Their dots are actually overlapping there, and China. So the runners-up that we saw before, well, they're still in that runners-up group, right? We have United States, Austria, Netherlands, and Sweden. China is there as well. And we kind of called China a second runner-up last time we did this analysis, right? Because they were a little bit, let me just go back to that previous graph there, they were a little bit behind this group of runners-up right here. And we see signs of that, right? Like China has not won that many total medals as the rest in this cloud. Interestingly enough, we do see Switzerland and France appear in this cloud of runners-up. So our prediction of watch Switzerland, okay, they may appear and show up and make their mark more so. That ended up being correct. And France also made it to this runners-up cloud, right? And that was one thing we mentioned, that France is above, or was above, the other single gold medal winners, not as high up as Canada though. So what's interesting is, okay, we have this cloud of runners up. We also have this formation right here. Okay, this formation right here. We see Italy, Japan, Canada, Russia. So first of all, we see Canada and Russia continuing to behave similarly to each other. Okay, we predicted that they would be close to each other on this surface. They remain close to each other on this surface. Okay, not winning as many gold medals as many of the other countries, but winning a very large amount of total medals. Russia's actually second place by total medal count, and Canada is third. So that's certainly noticeable. And then we see Italy and Japan. Okay, we noticed Italy last time that, yeah, their performance is noteworthy. We said watch Japan, and we do see Italy and Japan. Not that many gold medals, but they do have a substantial amount of total medal counts comparable to the runners up here of United States, Austria, Netherlands, Sweden. So that's quite interesting, right? We saw a lot of those predictions come true. Now, when we look at the value, the medal value versus the gold medal count, we see things line up quite well. Okay, so we see Norway way in the lead, and the other countries tend to just go in a line as their medal value increases, their gold medal count also increases, so nothing too surprising there. And again, we see Germany as second place behind Norway, although very distant second place along this line here. And if we look at medal value versus total medal count, well, here we actually get a pretty interesting picture. Okay, so we still have Norway far in the lead, okay, incomparably ahead of everybody. and then we have these two formations. Okay, so one formation here where you have Germany, United States, Canada, and Russia. Okay, so Canada and Russia, who were farther behind when we looked at this information with the perspective of gold medal as one of the axes, when we look at it as just total medal count versus medal value, well, we see Russia and Canada jump way up ahead in this group of runners-up with Germany and United States, okay, because Russia and Canada are winning a lot of medals, just not a lot of golds, okay, but in terms of number of medals won, well, they're actually ahead of Germany and the United States, and we see them create this formation with them as the group of first runners-up, and then we see the rest of the countries together in this cloud of second runners-up. And, you know, well, that's interesting too, right? Because total medal count, medal value, doesn't take number of golds into consideration so much, okay? So going back to the original graph here, right? Well, these groups show us generally how countries are behaving. So Norway's good at everything, right? That's easy to describe. We see this group of runners up here. We can see, okay, I mean, they're winning a decent amount of golds, a decent amount of medals in total, so they can just get better at everything. The countries down here, Switzerland, China, they have a lot of golds, not that many medals in total, right? So what that tells us is there's a smaller number of sports that they are very, very good at, okay? But it's not that big of a number, but they're incredibly good at it, winning a lot of golds. When we look at these countries here, especially Russia and Canada, we see that there is a very, very large amount of sports that they are good at. Okay, they're winning lots and lots of medals, but not enough golds, not enough that makes them really, really, really stand out in terms of being the best at a sport compared to the other countries here. So Austria, US, Netherlands, Sweden, Germany, Switzerland, China. The other interesting thing is this R squared value. Okay, so what this value means is how similarly do the two factors behave. So closer it is to 1, the more similar the two factors behave are. So when we look at our original data, okay, earlier on in the Olympics, looking at total medal count and gold medal count, our R squared value was 0.6. And now it's 0.75. Okay, so as more medals are being won, as more competitions are finishing, we see total medal count is correlating better with gold medal count. Okay, total medal count and gold medal count are starting to behave more similarly to each other. And we actually see this with all the graphs. Okay, when we look at medal value versus gold medal count, okay, well, they already behaved quite similarly during the previous analysis video at 0.9. And about a week later, well, now it's 0.95. Okay, so they're even more similar to each other. They're correlating even more, the medal value that a country has won and the number of gold medals. When we looked at the R squared value for medal value versus total medals won, it was 0.78, right? So just under 0.8, okay, a week ago, and now it is 0.88, right? Almost 0.9, or 0.89 actually, if you round to 2 decimal places. So from all perspectives, we're seeing gold medal count, total medal count, and medal value correlate better as time goes on. So countries that win more golds do tend to win more medals total, and the approximate dollar value of their medal winnings tends to go up as well. The more the Olympics go on, the more medals have won. So we're seeing that trend, and that's interesting and noteworthy as well. There's only a couple days left in the Olympics, so we're not expecting too much to change. Okay, but if, say, for example, Russia or Canada win a couple more golds, well, that can really push them into a different grouping that could make them comparable to this group of runners up here, or even surpass them, right? So that can certainly happen. Norway is really on a breakaway here. It'd be surprising to see someone overtake Norway. I'm not even sure if that's possible, depending on how many more medals or gold medals are still up for grabs. So we'll see what happens there, and yeah, it should be interesting. So we'll have one more update after all of the medals have been won, and until next time, enjoy.